Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Dog Show Drive with Wayne and Will. I'm Wayne Cavanaugh.
And I'm Will Alexander. Don't forget your snow tires. It's snowing now. So
That's right, get them changed on there, but everybody should do it. Even if you live in Florida, you never know these days. All
exactly.
right, we have a show today talking about Orlando, of course, the new virus, the mystery virus, and a couple of insights to the inside workings of decisions of judges, articulate judges who know how to enunciate. All that and
Some people
more.
have a way with words, and some people not have way, I guess.
All that and more right here on the Dog Show Drive. Well, good morning, young William. How are you up there, bud?
I'm good, Wayne. I almost wore a mask in this morning's broadcast because I have a bit of a stuffy nose, and I don't want to get anybody else sick.
Yeah, we don't want to have that. I had a pretty good whop of it myself. Couple weeks, couldn't get rid of it. Still feeling a little peaked, but
I feel
this
fine.
is
I'm just
something.
really stuffy. I'm just hoping it's because I'm using more heat or something in the house because it's cold up here right now.
Yeah, yeah. Get one of those. Do you have a not a dehumidifier, humidifier?
Humidifier, yeah. I used to just put a pot of water on my wood stove, and that was great. But
Yeah, yeah. They have a safer one now. Well,
I know.
you can get them in a little shape of like a whale for kids for babies' rooms with a
Yeah.
little thing, and that could make you happy during it. You could look over and see, Fudgy the whale. Well, not Fudgy, he would melt. That's a ice cream thing.
Moby. Moby?
Yeah, I'm sure we're really railing him in with this interesting, fascinating talk about our nose snot. But anyway, you went to some dog shows this weekend. Dog shows.
I went to the LC Murray Dog Show out in Calgary. Was
That was Marie.
LC Murray is the name of the kennel.
Oh, I thought Elsie Marie had a dog. I don't know.
No,
That was
it's his
Elsie
name's
Newstad.
Sean Nichols, and he was the one that invited me out there. It was a great show. It's a great show. We had
Good.
Laurent Pichard, Barbara Mueller, Richard, John Ramirez, uh, our dear friend Dr. Michael Woods.
Yes, the best. Man.
And every time I said, I always call him Doctor, and
Yeah.
he gets annoyed with me. Stop calling me Doctor.
He's such a good guy. Man, I really like him.
I'll tell you though, he's one of those judges I learn something from every time I watch him. Just
Absolutely.
I really
He's
enjoy him. I really enjoy
he
him.
should, he should be down here every weekend.
Yeah.
Um,
He doesn't want to be. He gets tired.
um,
I guess he had a busy summer and he had to actually try to slow things down because he was always gone.
yeah.
And he gets mad and he's gone all the time. So,
Yeah, I hear that in my house a little bit. But we finally, had some time to do some chores around the house. I was home this weekend. So we did, winter changeover. Because here in the tundra, where Will and I live, you've got to change everything. You get your clothes, your garage, everything's got to,
yeah.
everything's got to go in storage to the basement or somewhere. But we didn't need my three-wheel tricycle, my Barbie one. Didn't need that in the garage anymore. Well,
Nope.
that one has worked. Now my granddaughter uses it time to time, but I enjoy it. I enjoy
All right. We
it.
also had the Canadian Professional Handlers Top Dog Awards this weekend too.
Oh yeah, did you win?
Well, Darren Sitter placed 8th last year, so he got an award. Yeah. Yeah. So
Beauty.
I accept the award, but it was fun. Sean
Did
Nichols
you
and
speak too? So did
Allison
you give yourself
Alexander host. What's that?
I was gonna say, did you host and then give yourself the award or has?
No, I didn't host this year. So
No.
my Allison Alexander co-hosted with Sean Nichols this year,
Oh, good.
and it
Yeah.
was fun. We had a lot of fun, and it ran late. And it was put on by CPHA, what it's basically put on, I guess, Canadian Professional Handlers Association. It's Shannon Shear pretty well runs the whole thing.
Yeah.
She puts a lot of work into it, and it's a lot of fun. And I got to sit at the judges' table this year because I was on the panel with everybody else. So it's amazing. Like I didn't judge that day. I flew in that day, and then I sat at the table. And it was great to see all the dog winner, the peoples, and Shannon puts together a beautiful PowerPoint with all the dogs.
Yeah. So
But
did
we
you
started
sit,
at 7 o'clock and didn't end till 11 o'clock, and then these poor judges had to judge at 8 a.m. the next morning. I'm sure they were a little tired, you know.
I'm an 8:30 at night guy for when I judge. 8:30, I want to be in the bed.
Well,
It's
that's what I do.
terrible.
Well,
That's when we used to go out, was 8:30. That's when we started to go out.
in my awards, like in my acceptance of Johnny's award for number 8 dog, that's what I said. I said the Irish setters had proven one thing to me now, showing the Irish setter this year, is that I can do anything at all that a young person can do, as long as, but there's new parameters, as long as it's after 6 a.m. and before 8:30 p.m.
That's true. Now, you sat at the judges' table this year. Did you previously sit at the kids' table? The little,
Yes,
like
it was the kids'
a
table last
little
year. Yeah,
folding table in the corner. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Nice. That's nice.
They'd fan over me once in a while, and
Yeah.
I don't mind, because like everybody knows me, right? And then sometimes I get you know, ribbed about certain things, about being older or
Yeah.
being um what's the good term? Not for not being as tall as everybody else sometimes. And I thought this year that's not gonna happen, because I'm gonna be at the judges table, because they're it still happened. It
You
still
still
happened. Oh yeah, it still happened. But that's all right. You know, I got big shoulders for a guy my size.
started on your back. What are you going to do, bud? That's what happens when you're popular. That's
Yeah.
the my mother used to tell me that when I was in high school. Anyway, I'm heading. Well, actually, I'm heading down to see Brody this weekend in Maryland. Cheryl and I are flying down to say hello. Come on back, pack, repack, and head to Orlando.
Oh yes.
Yeah,
Orlando
it's a
is
big
coming
week.
up. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a big week. And there's so much to it. The Saturday show is the big deal, I guess. But many people that go don't stay for Saturday because you're there since Tuesday, and there are shows Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, all specialties Friday, and then the show Saturday. There may be a show Sunday, I don't know. But
No, it's this Sunday is the other half of the groups. They do the first 3 groups on
oh yeah,
Saturday,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
and
yeah,
then the
yeah.
finalize on
I kind of
Sunday.
remember that. Yeah.
And that's in
So
charge.
what happens is if you sign up for seminars, especially, you're there Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday doing seminars, and you are toast by then.
Oh, I'm
You
sure.
just want to go home. And if you sign up for all the seminars, I mean every time slot, in 3 days you can go to 9 of them, or 4 days you can go to whatever it is. You think it sounds like a great idea, but by the afternoon session, you're hearing blah 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 blah, Sparky. You're just not retaining.
Oh no.
So, but I went ahead and paid and booked all these seminars for the whole week, hoping that the judging schedule would allow me, because they spread judges,
Well, yeah, because you're
long
judging this
term.
year as well as taking the seminars. That's gonna.
Yeah, but it's not working out. So there's only one day of the three where I'm not judging that there's a seminar. I have a late start, I have a noon start or something on the one day, so I can take the morning one. But other than that, Friday, it's all specialties. I'm not judging that day, so I can take 2 seminars that day. And I enjoy those. I've already taken the Irish Water Spaniel seminar there, but I'm going to take it again. Why not? I'm there,
Yeah,
and you can always learn.
of course,
So
I did that with the Wolfhounds. I did the online seminar with CDJA, and then I did the kennel visit with Jocelyn. I enjoyed, and they
yeah,
were both put on by Jocelyn, so I enjoyed both of them.
well, that's cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, actually, did she do? She did. She did the seminar that I went to at the National like 5 years ago. I'm sure she did, and she did a great job.
No,
We
I
really
really
and
enjoyed it.
and so we have to go to a bunch of those, right? We have to do a few mentoring sessions, kennel visits, and a ring apprentice, in-ring apprentice, and the big seminars and all that for each breed. And I've been doing some online with one-on-ones or two-on-ones. You get 2 judges. Sometimes you can get one mentor, and it's interesting. I find that usually if I do it with another judge who I respect, I haven't asked her for permission, but when I want to tell you, but when I do it together, we end up hanging up, except for hang up on the mentor, and the 2 of us will then discuss what we heard. And that's really, and I have to tell you, to be very honest, there's plenty of times when I think I
Ooh,
can help.
sorry.
I can, bless you. I think I can help uh, uh, augment the mentor's presentation.
Well, yeah, and let's just face it. I think if you and I went to a seminar, which we did
Yeah,
in Newfoundland, and we talked about it afterwards, I think we absorbed more because you and I bounced things off each other, and
absolutely.
things one of us missed, the other one caught. Because I tend to, stray off sometimes.
Yeah, I do too. And some of them are really good. But I mean, to be honest with you, a lot of these judges, education mentors that have volunteered and do this do it out of the goodness of their heart. And I'm sure they love and know their breed, but they're not real good at presenting the information. Or, quite frankly, I don't think they're qualified to present that breed. And that can be, you get your point, but you've got to go beyond. If you just do what you have to do, for example, I'm going to call a breed I just did recently. I mean, a couple weeks ago. I have all the points I need, but I didn't learn a thing. And I'm going to call two people that I know that aren't qualified on the approved mentor list that I know a whole lot more than the person I talked to. And I'm not going to need points for that, but I certainly want to talk to them. Then, I
Well,
had a
it's like that in real life though, and it's like I have mechanics, and my mechanic is amazing, and it's because he stays up to date all the time. He always goes that extra mile, so he's always a better mechanic than anybody else.
Mhm.
I
Yeah,
think that's
just
like
want to
that in our
compliment.
job too. So
And we do talk. If I have an assignment where there were some things that were close calls or whatever, and I want to discuss them, I'll call somebody in that breed and go over them. And some people, well, you judges shouldn't be talking about the dogs you put up. Yeah, we should. How do you think we learn or
exactly,
continue to learn or at least get a different opinion so that we can process our opinions? I
it
had,
always used to be. So
yeah, I did I took, is that the word? No. Uh, there was a mentor that shared their information with two of us, me and this other judge. And she's new. And at the end, she said, "Boy, I thought I was going to really struggle with this particular breed shape." And at the end, we talked, and she said, "This isn't really that hard. We already know fronts and rears,
right,
and that's so important. We already know what balance is. We already know the parts. Just give me the three things that are the three things about your breed that define them as a breed, and usually that's a big start for a new judge like this person. And really, there's certain breeds you just say this, and this, and then yeah, the basic dog thing. And if you don't know the basic dog thing by now, all the little bits aren't going to give you what you need anyway, right? You'll pick up those three essential, head shape, tail shape, I don't know, whatever it might be. And you'll start judging only on that and you'll miss the whole dog. And that happens a lot with new
it certainly
judges.
does. I found myself a victim of that as well, like almost being too breed specific in certain areas and
Yeah,
forgetting about other things.
exactly.
And I have to stop and shake myself out there
Mhm.
sometimes. Oh, Will,
And,
stop.
that, and I think when you first start judging, that's not unusual at all because you're just learning those words. So those little bits, those subtleties are in your head, and you're going to get tested on them too. They're in your head, and then you're so hyper focused on them that you might miss the whole dog. And that's just one of those things. We all do it, and we do it. We don't even. It's not like you stop doing it. There'll be a day in a certain breed in a certain day, in a specialty maybe where all of a sudden you find yourself focusing on only those three things like whoa, self-correct. I got to get back into the whole dog. And then there's days where you're just like, what, this breed, yeah, there's plenty of type in this ring. This one is beautiful, this one is beautiful, that, but none of them can move. And I'm sick of it. This is a breed that has to have some locomotion and has to be sound. And today I understand that these have great breed type and I would look really cool if I went with them. But if I can only put two fingers between their front legs, and they can't keep their top line when they're moving, and they're wider behind than in front when they're supposed to be the opposite, or whatever it might be. Once in a while, I'm going to go, you know what? And sometimes I do that, Will, to almost make a statement that no one's hearing, but in my head, I'm
Right.
saying, I'm evaluating breeding stock. You have all these beautiful parts over here. They're beautiful. I appreciate the gorgeous ears. I mean, beautiful. I appreciate those things. I know about them. I appreciate them. But you all should be breeding this dog over here, this good, honest dog, and that's sort of my statement. I'm saying, here's one that can move down and back and from the side, keeping its shape, keeping its top line, great character and temperament. And yeah, maybe could use a little more work under the eyes. Maybe you could use a little better ear. And I know those things help define your breed. And I wish that your dogs move like this, or this dog had your finer points of breed type. So those are decisions you have to make. And sometimes you regret after. You're like, man, I should have made a statement. But you're in there to judge them, and you're in there to evaluate breeding stock. And sometimes, especially at a specialty where you've got a lot of dogs in that breed that have a similar fault or set of faults. And after a while, you're just done with that original set of faults. And you're really trying to make the point that from a breeder standpoint, I can tell you what Annie used to do. I've seen her done it more than did it. I've seen her do it more than once. At the Pointer National, she put up what people would call a common dog, uh, a boring dog with great movement, great soundness, and enough features of breed type
Yeah.
for a winner's dog. For reserve, she put up a dog that could barely walk, that had the most incredible head and tail, which in pointers, one's the hallmark of the breed and the other one is the certificate of blue blood. Um, she knew, and she wanted to tell you, I know how beautiful this dog is in head and tail, the important points in this breed, but he's got to go reserve. I know he looks nothing like my winner's dog. I know that, but she was confident enough to do it, Will. She was confident enough to do it and hope that, or maybe not even hope, maybe even just do it and say, I'm going to reward these whole dogs that might be missing a little bit, not a lot, in breed type. And I'm going to show you that I know about the cripple ones that have breed type for reserve. And you should be thinking about these two things in this breed. I thought it was brilliant. Most people were like, what is she doing? They don't look alike. She's not consistent. I thought she was very consistent in what she was doing.
Well, we had that kind of situation this weekend with Dr. Woods and I, and it was Brittany's, and there was two dogs, and they're both nice dogs, but one was a little more typey than the other one, and well, one could really travel well, was really sound, and was a nice size. He was typey enough, but the other dog maybe had a little more type than him. And Dr. Wood, after he finished judging, he put up the dog that traveled really well. He said to me that the other dog had more type, but this dog had enough type, and this dog had typey movement.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah,
he said, I'm a hunter. Well, I shot over lots of dogs, and he said, if I was taking one of those two out, I was taking this one out with me. And
that's a
that's what you
wonderful
always
experience.
say too. But
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
Michael in Labrador, he does go and do these things.
I'm not getting through any kind of field, even an open prairie, with a Springer that I can't fit two fingers between its front legs, as pretty as it is as a Springer. But these are decisions you make, and that's why it's different. If you can talk about them after, like, of course, Michael would with you, that's brilliant. That's such a great education. That one
Oh
little
my God, yeah.
sentence, right? That's
I did the
terrific.
same
Now,
thing, but I did it for different reasons. But he explained himself, which really
yes.
clarified it for me in my head.
Yep. Now, if that beautiful movement isn't breed specific, if it's moving beautifully because it's long,
Right.
that's not it. That's not what we're talking about here. That is not what we're talking about. You've got to be built like that breed and then also have the structure to move with balance and a top line. We're not talking about putting them up when they're long and low just because they can run fast. In fact, that's the opposite of what we're talking about, right? I hate that. In fact, if I've got a really poor mover who's the better make and shape, and I've got one of those that's just has no real breed type and is long and low, but runs around the ring fast, I'll take a chance on the one that isn't very good on its legs or not into it that day. That doesn't bother me at all. Um, Decisions you have to make, and there's lots of them.
I
Decision
was
making, the process of just being able to make a decision, That's a big part of it.
It was fun. It was fun talking with all these judges this weekend because we all talked about certain things like that. And one of the topics was with this one of the judges backed themselves into a corner. There were two dogs that they quite liked. There was one they preferred. It wasn't this weekend. It was they're talking about
Mhm.
an example of prior judging, and they went into it thinking, "I'm going to put this orange one up over this pink one because type wise and then the orange one was having a good day, and they made the mistake of taking the orange one around the ring with the pink one, and the pink one out moved, and then he backed himself into a corner because everybody's watching. You could obviously see the pink one was out moving the orange one. And,
Yeah.
and then they said later on that if they had to redo it, they would have stopped, moved them enough to to judge soundness and whatnot. But
Yeah, you've got to learn that lesson. You got to run your ring to do what you want to do. And in fact, in a case recently where I had a really good moving dog with enough type and a beautiful bitch with tons of type, it wasn't breaking her legs. I made it sure why I was doing it by moving the two of them together at the end. Sometimes you've just got to do that, and sometimes just pointing them standing still for that same reason.
oh, that's
Uh,
interesting. I remember Maxine Bean did the Iris International one year, and she pulled out two bitches and ran them around the ring and ran them around the ring, and then put this bitch over here. And she brought the two boys that she liked, and one was a little typier than the other one, but the other one had legs on it. Well, she didn't move them. She just
of
let them
course not.
stand there. Just let them
Of
stand
course.
there. You could see what she was doing right away.
Now I know you were talking about Irish setters because when you said orange and pink, uh,
No, I wasn't talking about Irish.
no, you were, Will, because that's the colors we see these days, and I hate it.
I was just trying to make something up that wasn't
See, it just came in your mind because
breed specific.
yeah, I would say that Will and I both prefer the real color Irish setter. We don't want to see orange and terracotta and pink and whatever else they're showing.
Well, I
No.
just remember I had my when I was showing dogs. I remember at the combined specialty. I went to ringside with my assistants because they wanted to talk about Irish setters because we had a bit of a break. And three dogs walked in the ring, and two were orange, and one was mahogany. I said, "Well, that's an easy class. There's only one Irish setter out there." Well, it went third.
Didn't look like the others.
Yeah.
One of these things doesn't look like the others. Well, again, Orlando 5,700 entries plus, and even on the Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, I think they're over 5,000. It might hit their limit on those days too. Um, so you look at the judging panel, there's a lot of judges, but man, one of the reasons you get a good panel, I mean, a good entry, is because you have good judges.
Right.
And
Yep.
I think
Yep.
people forget that. It's small shows, even. You're doing a show down here. One of the reasons they're going to draw big is because it's a good panel. In spite of you being on the panel, they're still going to draw a big
Even
panel.
happens here. Not every top dog happens here.
No, it's a good panel that they put together, and you're going to, it'll be a good entry. And people aren't going to spend their money. We talked about how expensive it was last podcast to show a dog. And you're just not going to take your chance. Brody's such a good test case. He'll call and say, "What about this judge?" And I'm like, "You can go. You'll probably win, but I'm not sure you want their opinion. Um, why would you spend your money? You want to feel good about winning under somebody that you respect. Um, yeah, it's not cheap. And actually, that came up yesterday in a conversation since we spoke about how expensive it is and how tough it is to retain people in the sport because of that. This person was saying the AKC is working hard to bring in these 4-H kids and people with these, sort of crossbred things to participate in this event and that, or these new breeds. And it just dawned on me. Do those people have enough money to stay in the sport? We talked about 4-H kids and junior showmanship and that project. And I had reservations on two parts. One, are they going to feel, especially in juniors, are they going to feel like part of the gang? Because they're teenagers, they're wicked. And
Right.
the other is, are their parents going to say, it costs what to take you to shows every weekend? I can buy you a soccer ball and a pair of cleats, and you can go every weekend. I only have to drive 10 minutes, and you're involved in something with other kids in a sport. I've got to buy you a crate and a van and a grooming table and a tack box and also and pay entry fees uh, and
Sometimes
grooming
hotel
expense.
fees and yeah,
Yeah, so you can go third and fourth. Uh,
yeah.
find another sport. It's
It's a tough
I
one.
don't know. We got to work on the retention, and I don't know how you do it, except make it a pleasant experience. This person I was having the conversation with said, "This is pretty interesting." She was new. She came in with a unusual breed. She won the breed at the Garden and in Orlando. She was in the group, and she said, knowing who I was, and I had this odd breed, and they were all having little conversations and chatting in the ring, and I just stood there by myself thinking, "Am I accepted? Am I the odd person out here?" Uh, which makes sense, you know. She just didn't feel like part of it, and she's very determined and stuck with it. And now everybody knows who she is. But you have to go through that layer too. You hope that people are nice to you. Do we have time to do that? Are we? I was always that guy in school, in grade school, high school, whatever, that if there was a kid who was sitting by himself, they got invited to the cool table by me or one of the other cool
Well, you
kids.
thought was the cool table anyway, right?
Well, it was the kids' table for Thanksgiving. It wasn't really cool. No, we did think it was a cool table. But even if it wasn't, if there were more than three people there, we invited that kid over. And I hope that you're inviting the cool kids over when you're at dog shows. I mean, the uncool kids or the new people,
The new
because
people, yeah.
it's
It's funny.
lonely. You'd be there with 5,000 people and no one's talking. You're like, this is a weird feeling. We
Yeah.
don't know that feeling because we grew up in it, really. You know?
We don't. I get to a dog show nowadays, and there's such a revolving door now that sometimes I don't know some of the people at the shows.
Oh, I don't know half of it
And
anymore.
I was sitting with my buddy Colin, and I wandered off. I said, I can go see where the cool people are, Colin. I walked around, wandered around for a half an hour, came back. I said, we're right here. We are the cool people. In our eyes, we were.
True. It's true. But I'd love to find someone just fumbling and not knowing where they're going and just stop and say hello or something because those things go a long way. You
Oh,
know,
no
in
question.
business I've had, the receptionist, I always made it clear, you are the first point of contact for this company. And if you are pleasant when someone comes in and show them the spirit and show them how much you love the place, they're going to feel that. That might be their only connection with this business. And it sets everything. And it's the same as true as dog shows. If you walk in your first day and someone's nice to you, it sets a whole tone. It
No,
sets a whole
yeah, there's no question.
so, you know, I
And
hope
it's interesting because I one time I was walking through a dog show in Muskoka, and there was this gentleman having trouble with his cocker spaniel, and he had the lead on backwards, and he had it all. I just stopped and fixed it and pointed in the right direction, told him a few little
yeah,
things, and then I carried on because I had to go to ringside.
yeah.
That man called me. He was my client for 10 years after that.
Wow.
He
Isn't
owned
that
about 3 or 4 number one dogs that I showed, and all because I
wow.
stopped to help him. Right,
Isn't
right.
that cool? It helps people and it helps and if you don't have the time for that, they're not going to have the time to come back and you're not going to have a sport with more than three people in it. So think about that. Ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country. And what you can do for your country is reach out and help somebody and be nice to them. Get out of your mindset of I've got to win these points or I can't be number one and stop and try to keep somebody in the sport. And you can do that by there you go.
No, just simple little
Stopping to help.
acts of kindness,
Yeah.
it's amazing.
Yeah. I
And
don't
just even interest in them. That's all it takes.
It is. Yeah. You know, there's a situation where I saw a grandmother bring their kid, and the grandmother was just being the ride, and she was just being nice to the kid. And you know, you can see that. You can see that, and you want to make sure that that kid knows he belongs here. And yeah, it's pretty cool. It's pretty
Oh,
cool
there's no question.
if you can take the time to do it, and you should make time. Darn it! But
What's
don't look
happening on
at
what have you heard about this canine flu going on?
no. There's a Facebook group about it.
Yeah.
And this concerns me because you've got 500 people giving their personal opinion and asking questions like, my dog has this symptom, and this symptom. What should I do? Oh, I know. You should call the vet. not ask a bunch of random people on Facebook who has zero scientific experience or veterinary medical experience. Uh,
But
you
isn't
know,
that the norm today? Everybody on Facebook and social media is an expert in some topic that they
oh yeah,
have
yeah.
never studied for.
I heard that 50,000 dogs died at the dog park in my neighborhood. No, you didn't. And my neighbor's dog is sick. Well, maybe it's because it's sick. There's about 10 billion viruses out there
Yeah,
floating around.
yeah.
I don't know, Will. I don't know what to believe because I don't know enough about it. And by the way, neither do most people, including your veterinarian. They're learning too. Uh, but I can tell you one thing. My vet said this has been around for a couple of years now, and it's a really bad form of kennel cough. Then you'll talk to another vet who says, it's no big deal. Then you'll talk to another vet who says, oh my God, they're all going to die. So yes, you can have your veterinary testimonies on your Facebook group, right? But they don't even agree.
Exactly. You
So
know what I did this morning? I asked Chat GPT.
did you really?
I did.
I got you hooked. You're using the chat.
You got me hooked. And she, I guess it's a she, I don't know. As of my last knowledge update in January 2022, there were different strains of canine influenza, primarily H3N8 and H3N2. These viruses can cause respiratory illness in dogs. However, the information might have changed since then. For the latest updates on canine flu, it's recommended to consult recent veterinarian sources or other official health organizations. That's what she said.
And that's true. That
Yep.
sums it up right there. She didn't even know what she was saying. She was just having words follow words. That's what ChatGPT does, but she did it well, or he, or whoever. She's smart, so it's probably a she. But but you just have to use your own judgment. Uh, it's going to be interesting to see if 5,700 dogs show up in Orlando or five. I don't think there's going to be as many absentees as we think, but we'll find out.
Yeah, it's
Don't set your dogs up back to back in crates. Give yourself some space. We've got the judges have all gotten letters saying don't go near their bites and don't re-examine and all these things. And if you do have to re-examine, sanitize your hands between dogs and all that stuff. Everyone's just gonna have to do what they can do. But this kennel cough goes through dog shows too. And does everyone get it? No. Do you want to be a dog that gets it? No. So it's a personal choice.
right. It is, and
Personal
it's
choice.
also just like when we are having the COVID epidemic. Well, still, but when we were all,
Mhm.
it's just a matter of being timely about things and being cautious about things. So,
Yeah, and we do know how little we knew in the beginning of COVID. And we should be aware that we know so little about this new one
yeah,
that you just have to take precautions and do what you do. Uh, with that said, if if you go to these shows and have your dogs vaccinated and talk to your vet about what else you can do, take your chances. That's up to you. But I can tell you that just a couple weeks ago, there was a pretty big entry in Philadelphia for the National Dog Show. And so far, I haven't heard of any dogs that have gotten sick from that or any handlers whose whole string have gotten wiped out. In
right.
fact, somebody posted, has anybody gotten sick from there? And I think one person said, maybe my dog got a respiratory thing, but it could have been anything. It's fine.
Yeah, for sure.
So if that's an indicator, if it shouldn't be a problem. If it's not an indicator, and these things have evolved or in different regions, because they are seem to be regional specific, who knows? I'm not taking my dog to the city dog park. I can tell you that.
It's interesting. We talked. That's just a sidebar. We talked about the canine flu, and you gave me your opinions. And then when I asked Chat GPT, she almost gave me the same opinion. Does that mean your Chat GPT?
I've been very busy, Will. That's all I can say. I've been very, very busy. I don't want to go any farther than that. Actually,
Just curious. I don't want
I'm not
to
even here right
expose
now.
you or anything, but
Yeah, I'm not
like
even here.
Batman.
This is a hologram of me. I don't even exist. This is like the Wizard of Oz. Pull back the curtain. It is pretty fascinating, but there's one thing for sure. I can never write anything and hand it in, and no one would think it was me because it just doesn't have my voice at all. It sounds like a computer. It doesn't
That's
have it.
amazing how fast it is.
Isn't that the crazy part?
It's just like I punched it because I just started probably because of you, and I punched in. What should I ask you? And she said, anything you want. And I said, how about this? And brrr.
Haven't you said write a short story or write 500 words? I want you to write a story about a fireman that found a dog and then went to the dry cleaner. 1 minute later, there you go.
It's incredible. It's frightening.
It is frightening.
Maybe it's Arnold Schwarzenegger.
It could be, but we've been using AI forever. Yeah, I mean, every time you order a package from Amazon, it's AI all over it. I liked it better, Will, when AI stood for artificial insemination. I got that. I understood that very carefully. I knew how that worked. I knew why it worked, and I knew how to do it. So yeah, this is a more complicated AI for sure. When I first started to hear it, I'm like, why are scientists breeding dogs? Why are computer guys? They're
Yeah.
talking about. But there you have it. Did you get your Spotify list from Facebook?
Did I get my Spotify list from Facebook?
Mm.
No.
Evidently, people have been posting that Spotify says that this is what they've been listening to the most. And they'll list their top 10 or whatever it is bands that they've been listening to, and then the top 5 or 10 songs they've been listening to. And that's AI collecting your data and crunching the numbers through these algorithms and spitting it out.
Wow.
And if you listen to a lot of Bruce Springsteen, might be number one. Could be number two because maybe you listen to it on a different medium, right? E Street, Sirius Radio, or something like that. So it's very specific. Will, I know what I listen to. Podcasts. I don't really listen to as much music as I used to anymore, even though that's my thing, right? As a musician, I do have times when I turn on. I just ask Alexa to play me stuff,
Oh, there you go.
and she's a pretty good player. She can play almost every instrument,
Yeah.
very well.
It always freaks me out though when they say we're talking about the Toronto Maple Leafs, and then next thing you know, your social media is filled with Toronto Maple Leaf things. It always
Mhm.
freaks me out a bit.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. I gotta go out and rake some leaves, honey. I'm gonna get out there and clean up some fall stuff. 2 minutes later, rakes for sale. Hours,
40% off.
What? Yeah, that's the scary part of AI. And they say it doesn't work that way, but I don't know. Pretty coincidental, in my opinion.
Yes.
Pretty coincidental. Um,
So
so
you're off to
I'll have to see the
Baltimore
Broadster.
this weekend. What's that?
Yeah, I'll have to see the Broadster in Maryland
Yeah.
and Margaret. Cheryl and I are flying down. Very short weekend. It's just been a while, and we have enough points to use by the end of the year. So we're going down there, hit the aquarium in Baltimore, see some fish, see what kind of balance they have. They have the right ears. And check out their.
My old cocker client used to show fish.
Is that right?
I don't know how you get the lead on them. Anyway,
Yeah.
this
They
weekend
pay
at
well.
home we
If
have
you give
what
them too
used to
much,
be
if they give them too much bait, will they die? The fish. Remember, if you feed them too much, they die. Yeah.
this week at home we have the Brantford Kennel Club, and that used to be growing up. That used to be our last show of the year. It used to be the Christmas Classic at Brantford Kennel Club, and that was the end until we didn't have other shows in Canada till March, till the Sportsman Show back when I was a child. But Brantford Kennel Club was always run by Bob and Irene Gillum. Now we lost Bob a few years back, and Bob Gillum was the first person to ever groom a dog for us. When we got our first show dog, we went to Bob Gillum's, and he and his wife, Bob did the grooming, but Irene sort of oversaw and talked the dog because they didn't know what kind of crazy dog they were getting, so she was there to keep the dog together while Bob trimmed it. Well, Irene, Mrs. Gillum, she passed away just this year, so they're having a memorial tour this weekend in the Brantford Kennel Club, and she's been a part of my life, uh, unbelievable, like forever. And I don't know if you remember, yeah, you probably don't, but I had a tie bar on with an A on it when Miss P won the garden, and it was from Mrs. Gillum. she'd given to me.
Wow.
Yeah,
Oh,
and
cool.
so it's I think I don't think I think her maiden name must have started with an A because I think she told me it was an old family heirloom and she wanted me to have it.
Oh, that's cool. Huh?
I'll have to find out for sure, but yeah, that's gonna be
I do remember it, and I thought you were a Salem witch. Wearing your name. Yes.
but yeah, so that's it's gonna be great talking about them again because they were so important to this area. But it's also kind of a sad thing. It's kind of
Yeah.
end of an era for us all. So in this
It'll
area,
be nice. They're going to do something, a little memorial thing or dedicate it to. Yeah, that'll be nice. Yeah, those people, you put your whole life into this thing, and it's nice to be recognized because they certainly did, and many others have as well. I think there's some dedications coming up in Orlando, and
oh, I'm sure, yeah,
um, I feel bad I don't remember them off the top of my head, but I know we lost some good ones, and certainly at Philadelphia, same thing. So yeah, it's a sport that people put their entire lives in. It's nice to be recognized. And
it's when Mr. G passed away. Like I was close to them, Mr. Gillum, and Mrs. G sent me a package in the mail. And I may have told you this story, but I opened it up and it was from Mrs. Cheever Porter. It was Mr. It was letters back and forth from
yeah,
Bob Gillum to Mrs. Cheever Porter because he wanted to breed to oh boy.
yeah. Oh,
So
wow.
he got all these I got pedigrees and these it was just interesting historical thing that she thought I should have and I have it now and I have these letters, Natowski pictures and yeah, it's great.
So this is a part of the sport that if you haven't been in it for 90 years like Will and I, they were clients back then. Mrs. Cheever Porter was the ultimate, right?
Oh my
She
gosh, yeah.
defined what a backer and an owner was. Uh, there weren't 15 owners. The dog was owned by Mrs. Cheever Porter. And she had a wonderful interest in the sport. She wasn't breeding dogs, but she certainly loved her dogs. And mostly Irish setters. And when I was at Forsyth's, Janie would find her a new Irish setter. Mrs. Porter would arrive, and she'd have one of us, usually me, setting up the old setter, Janie setting up the new one, and she'd stand between us, and she wore white gloves, and she would go right down and examine both Irish setters. I'm not sure what she was looking for, didn't matter, but she knew what she liked, and she would give the nod. Yes, I'll back this one. And then, as if we weren't there, it was always the results were always in the New York Times, Walter Fletcher's column on Monday morning after the dog shows, which are always held on Saturday and Sunday. And she would clip out the article about her win and the results and mail it to us, just in case we didn't know. That's how interested she was. Now we have 5 owners, 3 backers, 15, or they even, it's just a different world. And now we got a bunch of judges signing on the dogs for ownership and a posse of 15 people. It, I guess it takes a village now. It must take a village because Mrs. Porter could afford it. And maybe now we don't have as many of those people. So you do need to put a bunch of people together to make
Wasn't
it
there an
happen.
even a dedicated field to her Porter Acres?
Quarter acres. That was the big giant chain link paddock down on the other end of the kennel. It was you had to walk your dogs down to it, which Bob loved because you had to walk them down there. You don't want these kennels where you just flop in and out, and no one touches them. And that's where the greyhounds ran, and the smooth fox terriers and boxers and whatever else he wanted to throw in there and see if they got along and run. But it was on a hill too; it wasn't flat at all, and that would give those greyhounds, boy, they would just love it down there running around. All the breeds did, and sometimes when the smooth fox terrier puppies were down there, when you go get them and bring them back, half their ears were torn off. You had to stitch them back together and stick them in the heel a little bit because they're getting little scraps down there. But never any harm or foul. Never. They knew what to put together down there. But we bred and whelped a lot of smooth fox terrier puppies for the Farrells, and that was part of your education growing up. Before you ever made it to 21 years of age, you probably whelped 20 litters, and they were, a
Thank you
breed
the
I wasn't.
experience, the education you received because of it, though. So
Yeah, we
I
have that
don't
anymore.
fall back on it because I always bring it back up again. I want to hear about it. So
We don't have any Mrs. Porters anymore.
not really, no.
Uh, she was so specifically cool and unique and a grand woman, a real lady. And we have great backers now, but they're different cut of cloth. It's a different world. And there's usually a team of them. Uh, boy, when I look at some of the collect 5, 6 names on a dog, and then of course it's a bitch, and then we breed a litter, they're all breeders all of a sudden,
Yeah.
right? Someone who's never even seen a dog, never even known a dog that was in their house. Breeder, breeder of the year. Oh, speaking of that, those nominations are in,
Yeah, I
and
saw
that
some of
award
those.
is given. And boy, there's some dandies, some real good
Always
ones.
is.
And I'm looking forward to Luke. Luke is nominated for Breeder of the Year for a toy group.
I
And
got a call, Luke, because I saw a post that he's
yeah, he's in the
in the
hospital.
hospital. So
Yeah, I
yeah,
hope. Gosh, we were supposed to pick up a puppy Friday. Um, hadn't even thought of that.
Diane will make sure things move forward anyway, but
Hmm.
well, he's repairing himself.
Yeah, yeah. Jeez, we need Luke. We got to have our Luke back. Our my financial advisor's driving down there to pick up a puppy Friday. So hope all's well. Looking forward to having a good looking Shih Tzu in the neighborhood. Anyway, that's going to be a fun trip. It's an exhausting trip. If you've never been and you're going to do all this, no matter if you're 18 or 80, pace yourself. Don't think you're going to be there at 8 in the morning and stay till 6 at night and then go to dinner till 10 at night and make it through the third day. It doesn't work that way. You
No.
have to pace yourself. It's not just the damn the building is so enormous that you're going to walk 10,000 steps the first hour just to see. Remember how far it was from Beagles to Pointers and Setters
Oh,
that day?
I remember. Yeah.
We couldn't even find it, never mind run back and forth. And then there's a real hike to the hotels too. Oh, yeah, they're connected by a tunnel or a bridge. Good luck finding it and walking it and then getting to your room. It's expansive. And that's why it's so not. And that's another thing about the virus there. You can really spread the show out. If it is nose to nose transmission, that's probably airborne. Don't put your dogs in the situation where there's, look, meet Sparky. Let's sniff noses. Don't do that.
You see so much of that. Oh, he's friendly. It doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
Not this time of year.
Yeah, really. And of course, for people who care about rankings, not me, some giants will be made and some giants will be killed in just a few short moments.
A blink of an eye, numbers change. It's incredible.
When you're judging, your breed decisions can determine a whole lot.
Oh,
It's not just
you try to keep those out of your head, but they run through them.
We were talking about that earlier. Yeah, the psychology of that is present, and you've got to be aware of it. You have to just say, I understand that I'm going to knock this dog off his number one pedestal, but I'm in here to please myself. And tough calls. Just judge the dogs. It's a lot easier. Just judge the dogs. That's all we got to say.
Yeah, I think it's we gotta close up shop. I got a place to be, but stay safe, guys, and you stay safe going there, Wayner, and say hi to Brody and have a great time in Maryland. And
I sure will.
I do wish I was going this year to Florida again. I just couldn't make it happen. There's too many things on the go. So
great learning opportunities.
Yeah,
should be fun. And go Leafs.
Go Leafs, go. That's tonight. They're playing our favorite Seattle Kraken tonight.
Oh, yeah, I'm gonna have to wear both jerseys.
I know. I can wear my cap and my jersey, right?
All right, bud.
All right, everybody out there, please stay safe on the road, and we will see you down the road.
Party on, Greg.
No way.
You gotta be paying attention, Doc.
Thanks for listening to
So Ernie can use this in the blooper reel.
That's right. We love you, Ernie. Yes, we do.
Don't put that in, Ernie.
Quit taking yourself so damn seriously.
I'm gonna roll
Some extraordinary data things that are being done around the world.
Thanks, Ernie.
We didn't mention hockey either. Isn't that unbelievable? Put that in, Doc.
Yeah, they let us see it in a blooper. This is good. We're going to be here in a second, Wayner.
Don't lose it, Doc.
Hot.
Use that one, Doc.
Don't use that one.